everybody, it's me again, Max Farrell from DexFXMarkets.com, and one of the final videos that I want to make for you in this series for the Dex Atomic X process, and even for any of the trading levels that you'll be working on. I want to explain that the Hilt box and the risk levels, okay, and this is set to the medium level, whether it's the high risk or the low risk, or even the medium risk, okay? The level of statement that this is, like when if it's a low risk, okay, because it's on a sell, so this would be high risk, and this would be medium, and this would be low, okay? This is your level of comfort, which one you want to be able to do. As you go back, like in the previous videos, and find out what's the best session you're going to work with, you have to keep in mind a couple of things. One, the statement price is very powerful at what level you have it at. Now, we are starting you off with a 35.65, right? This is where you're going to be on a, excuse my very bad writing there because I'm trying to use a mouse tool, okay? 35.65. That looks terrible, doesn't it? I could have probably just used this and just, nope, not that, silly boy. Let's go here. Okay, we want to use a 35/65. Right. Oop. All right. Oh, like that. Okay. Boy, that was terrible. Okay. But the 35.65. Now, what are some of the other levels that we utilize as far as market price goes? And that's very simple. There's a 45.55 that we use. Now, what is the difference? Or anywhere in between. That means that we're going to be risking, on a sell side, we're going to be doing $45 profit margin. On a buy side, we'd be doing $55 risk value. So it's still $45 profit, $55 risk, right? So, but on a sell side, you would put in 45. On a buy side, you put in 55. They're still the same, or anything in between. So 36.64, and all the way up to this point. Now, why does it matter what level we go with a risk at that point? Well, if price is really volatile at the high risk side, right? Let's just put it on high risk here. Let's see what happens. High risk. Okay. Okay. Let's just look at that for a second. All right. If it's always really super volatile at the high risk side, you really do want to have more of an opportunity that you try to get it down to a 2-to-1 relationship, right? That if you do lose one, when you win another one, you sort of get most of your money back, and if you win another one after that, you're in the green, right? You're in what they call in the black, all right, not in the red. So 45.65 is a 45.55 is a very good level to be at a high risk. Now, sometimes, okay, from medium risk to low risk, having it to where if I'm at 45.55 at a medium risk, I may not get bought up as much. All right, so the difference of different levels for me is that at high risk, I'm going to get bought up a lot, but I'm going to lose more. I'll still win on the opposite, still win on the outside of the process. At 45.65, I'll still do okay, right? But I'm going to be getting picked up a lot more. Now, if I use a 35.65 for the market price, I'm going to get bought up on trades that are far away from, like if this was a buy and it started away and it never got close to my line, I'm going to get bought up on trades that get about 3 to 4 pips to this line. Okay? So I'm going to get bought up on trades that, may end up in this area, and that'll be good or bad depending on the volatility of that high risk area. So I could trade 35.65 or 35.65 at that line. It just means I'm going to trade even more. But again, I could stand to lose more as well. So if you're okay with losses and it's all about the average and getting out there, trade high risk. Where I want you to start is the medium risk. The medium risk is very important because at just starting out, that's the mean. Okay? That's where we want you to start out at. All right? Seems to make the most sense, seems to have the best availability of success. You'll start out with 35.65. Could you trade 45.55 here? Yes, absolutely, but the price has to come super close. Like this would have been picked up at 45.55 because you're within about a pip, right? But wait, was it 33.47, 33.46? Yeah, it possibly could have. It's real fickle at that point at 45.55. You have to have, it has to almost come back and touch the, but remember also, this may not be the line. You may be down here. You might be a little bit lower. Right? So that's the other thing too to kind of look at is when you get to this medium level, the price has got to come back there and go on, right? If you were at a high risk side of it, I'm sorry, low risk side. If you were at the low risk side, the price has got to come way down to bounce off. You may want to be at 35.65 at that level because you want the trade to be about 3 pips away from where you're at. You'll fill more. And because it's a low risk, you'll win more. You may not fill as many as you would as a high risk, but you could play with that process a little bit. My suggestion is to go back. If you're going to be trading 45.65 at the low risk area, you're not going to fill many at all, but you're going to win a lot more than you lose. Because when it does fill, it fills and it wins. Okay? So I would suggest keep this in mind. Any level can be done between 35.65 and 45.55. Any level can be done one of those, and somewhere in between. Right? Where did we put that one at? Forget what page it was on. On GP1. I'm going down there it is. So anything could be done at any level. So, you could trade the low risk at 45.55 or the low risk at 35.65. You could possibly even come a little bit lower, but I wouldn't do too much. Right? The best times to make sure that you're doing those is right at the top of the hour, right when it happens. Right? And if you're testing, you go back and you test at those levels. Did it come with it? If you're doing this is about 3 pips. And in between, this is about 1 pip away. And even sometimes touching the line. You can guarantee that you got in if the price touches the line. And then you can really check to see what that variable is of success. But I want you to really, really believe that the mean is the way to go in the very beginning. It gives you an opportunity to test out the system, to see that it works. It has a good rate of success and good rate of fill rate. You're not going to fill them all. You're going to have some dry days. Sometimes you may only make 1 or 2 trades. But how many trades do you really need? At David Menning, at David M in Discord, only trades about 3 times a day. Probably trades a little bit more now. Now he's doing a 35.65 at the low risk area. But he has that availability. When you first get here, you're going to be trading that medium risk. You're going to learn how to just follow the rules. Medium risk, what level, what statement price, what market price. Simple. Boom, boom, boom. Then you're in and you're trading. Later on, you'll learn how to look a little left. You'll see different areas of inclusion. Like this area right here. Why is that so good? Well, because you could have actually came down at this level and traded from there, 90.73, 90.76, 35.65, boom, filled, where your low risk trade wouldn't have. The alert comes to you, you come to the signal, you look at the level. That's a very powerful level right there. So it seems to be keeping it away, and it would have gotten filled. You see? So you're looking for these secondary levels as you look left. This is another strong level, but it's far out there. It's very, very safe. This is, if you were in war, this would be, I'm still in the United States. If you're going to World War, right? I'm still in the base. I'm still safe in the base. This is, and then this is the front lines right in this area, right? But if I would have done 45, 55 here, I wouldn't have been filled yet. I mean, it's not finished yet, so. But if I'd done 35, 65, I would have. All right? So find something that works for you. Stick with it, 35, 65 medium level, which that medium level would have been up here. This one wouldn't have gotten filled at the medium level. And then work on that, right? Eventually, this is going to come back to the mean. But our hours is almost up. All right? So this is not to confuse you. If you're just starting out, stay with the 35, 65 median level. Deal with the fill rate. Deal with the loss. Deal with the wins. And just trade. Get in there and trade. Trade that for 2 weeks. Make that happen. Okay? As you advance, as you grow into your world, as you get up to the advanced levels, you're starting out in beginner, and then you'll get to intermediate, and then you'll get to advanced. In those advanced rooms, they're trading all 3 levels at different times and what they're doing. There's no set in stone. Some of you want a set in stone. No, I always do this at this particular time. If you want that, 35, 65, medium level, 1 hour trade. Done. See you later. Bye-bye. If you want something more advanced, you have to work it to make it more advanced. You have to see the relationship in the levels. You have to begin to understand what those levels are. And how do you do that? Simply go back and use the replay system. Go back as far as you can scroll back, go back. Set your session times to exactly what you want to trade, right? 1900 to 1700. Okay. Set your level, what you're going to trade. We're going to trade the medium risk. We're going to hit OK. Go way back. Start your replay and smack it. Lower your speed down and let it just play. And go figure it out. Stop your stuff. Go in and trade like we said in the replay. And trade. Take an hour. Take 2 hours. Trade your favorite pair. If yours is Euro USD, go in and check it. All right, if I look left, I see that this is a pretty powerful level. If I can't come down into the trade too much, right? It can't be down in this area. That doesn't make any sense. This is the best area for me to be at. That's a high risk trade. I wonder what would have happened if I would have made a trade. Take a line, put the line down. This is where you would have traded at. Okay? And then go for it. Hit play. Check to see if you would have won. Right now, it would have gotten filled 2161, 2163. That was only 2 pips. So this would have gotten filled right there at that bar. Boom! Boy, would have definitely got filled right there. And then look at this is all over the place. I don't know what's going on here. I think this may have been the NFP. It was the NFP, weirdo. And it won. You know, I just picked that by accident. This is the actual NFP, the non-farm payroll that fired off on the 4th. And I was wondering what was going on. But, you know, if you would have stayed with your medium trade at 35.65, you would have won. If you would have went with your high risk, which would have been right here, 35.65, you would have won. But knowing it's the NFP, maybe 45.55, a little lower risk, and you would have made 20 extra bucks or 10 extra bucks. You see? It definitely won. And so then you would come down and do it again here. You would look left and it would be nothing all the way over there except for right there. And that's a possibility, but it's already, the price at this point is already above that. So because we've moved so far out of it, now it's time to go and say, all right, listen, if it's going to continue on this downward, this has got to be the level it's going to kind of come to. So I'm going to come back to here. And what level is that? So then you're adjusting your level now. I'm going to go to right there. I'm going to play. Right? It's trying to fix itself. Look at it. It's trying to come back up to this margin. And I wanted to show you that in this fashion because it's important for you to understand that there's losses that happen at this level, right, when doing this mentality. So what we've just had there is a possible loss in maybe. Oh. Okay, very close. 2155, 2156. You may have had a different level over on Nadex. But you can always go back and look and say, okay, at this level, this doesn't seem to work when I get this much news. At this level, it's trying to rebound, go back upwards, right? It's trying to fix itself. Maybe avoid, right? Remember that you have to know your times too. All right. I don't want to get too much more into theory of trading, doing all that stuff. Start out 35.65, medium risk, 1 hour trade. We'll see you next time. I'm Max Farrow. I really do appreciate you being a part of this series, a part of this company. If you have any questions, reach out to us in Discord, on the site, on the chat, in the email, on the phone number. Send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. We want to help you. We'll see you next time. And as always, trade well.